Hey everybody, it's Randy from the Wanderlodge Owners Group. I get people calling me all the time asking me to tell some more stories about events that happened through the years, and today I wanted to tell you a story about a coach that I bought to flip and ended up keeping it really. But I've been buying and selling, flipping was not the word back in the day, but I've been buying and selling Wander Lodges and pieces and parts for a long time. And about 20 years ago, and let me say this, 20 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of fixer-uppers or parts coaches out there for sale. The 20 years is 20 years, and so I hear about this coach in California, north of San Diego. I don't even remember the name of the town, but it was a 93 wide body, and it was 20 years ago. That was a pretty new coach, and I couldn't afford a used one of those at the time. They were like $225,000, and so I hear about this coach. It was a supposed recovered theft. The seats were gone out of the front, the couch was gone, the bed was gone, the toilet was gone, all the awnings were gone, that kind of thing. And it was a price I could afford, and figuring all the parts I'd have to buy to replace it, I could still make a nice coach out of it and make money or keep it. So another Wanderlodge guy and myself, we flew to San Diego, and I checked the weather before we left, and we flew southwest, I think. And the weather said it was sunny and warm, 75 degrees in San Diego. So I'm in my typical uniform, short pants and a t-shirt. We fly to California, and we get off the plane. It's raining, and it's about 45 degrees, and I'm in shorts, and I'm not really happy. So we go to get our luggage, and they had sent our luggage to San Francisco. So we didn't have any, long pants or jackets or anything. All that was in San Francisco. So we rented a car, and we went to a Holiday Inn Express, and they said they would send the luggage there when it got returned from San Francisco. So we're wet by the time we get to the rental car and all that stuff. And then it was late for us. Let's see, we were on Florida time, we're in California. So now it's time for dinner. So we went to a restaurant, we had some beer and some hamburgers, and we got wet going in the restaurant. We come out of the restaurant, we get wet, we go to the Holiday Inn, and we're in our room, and I was freezing cold. I jumped in the shower, and I got out of the shower, and the phone's ringing. So the room phone. So I answer the phone. It's front desk. And the front desk girl says, the courier is here with your bags. And I said, tell them to bring them up to the room. And she says, bring them up to the room. And I could hear the courier. He says, we don't normally deliver to the room. And I told her, I said, well, I don't normally fly to San Diego and fly my bags to San Francisco. I'm cold, I'm wet, I don't have any dry clothes to put on. If I come down to the front desk to get my clothing, nobody's gonna be happy, because I'm gonna be naked and mad. And I heard her tell the courier that, and 2 seconds later, somebody knocks on my door, and it's the courier with our bags. So we get the bags, we go to bed, we get up the next morning, and we get up at like 4 o'clock, because that would have been 7 in Florida, I guess. And so we go down to the continental breakfast, and we chowed down, and then got in the car and drove about an hour to go see this fixer-upper 93 wide body. So we get there, and all this time I had my briefcase with me, and in the briefcase was the money to buy this thing, and I'm not turning loose of that thing. I felt like James Bond. I needed a handcuff to it, So we go in. It was at a bus place that did conversions and stuff, Minute Man or something Man. I don't remember. I don't even remember the city. So we go look at the bus, and we say, well, okay, it's a little bit rougher than we thought it would be. And so then they dropped the bomb on me that you can't drive it. And well, why not? Well, the power steering pump, which is also the fan motor pump on the engine, AV92, is bad. And so that's why it was supposedly stolen. So what happened, this pump goes bad, it's sitting on the side of the freeway, and when they come back to get it with a wrecker, The awnings are gone, the couches are gone, the washer dryer's gone. All this stuff is gone on the side of the freeway. I guess that's possible. Not in my world, but maybe in California. So then the owner of the bus shows up, and he's a young guy, and he's some kind of advertising guy, and they had wrapped this coach. This was way early on wrapping cars, and for advertisement purposes, it had something on it, and then when they pulled the wrap off, it pulled all the clear coat off, so it needed to be painted, and I knew that, and I got a painter. We could paint it, and so he gets it towed over to the international dealer, and he got on the phone with BlueBird and got a power steering pump overnighted in, so it's going to be tomorrow. I said, I'll come back tomorrow. So we went somewhere and screwed around the rest of the day and night, and the next morning we were back over at the international dealer, which was the closest dealer to where this bus conversion place was. So they get the pump in, and I got a train coming, you guys bear with me here, and the mechanic's putting the pump on, and I tell, okay, I'm going to buy it, we have a deal, and I tell the international dealer, I said, go ahead and put some new batteries in it, change oil, and hold on, waiting for the train. It's coming, it's going to blow any second. The train is right behind my shop here. I mean, I could hit it with a rock if I could throw very far. So the international dealer agrees. They're going to put batteries in it. They put interstates in it. Not my favorite battery, but that's what they had. So they put batteries in it. Change the oil. I said, make sure you put straight 40 in it. Well, they put multi-grade in it, so they had to do it again. And about that time, the mechanic gets the power steering pump on, and it runs, and everything's good. We go for a test drive. Okay, I'll take it, but the tires are terrible. They're flat spotted, so it's got this bumpity thing going on. And I priced tires in California, and I couldn't afford tires in California. I had a lot better deal in Florida, so I'm going to drive it home on these bad tires. And it needed, like I said, it had a driver's seat, but missing the front seat, missing the couch, missing the recliner, missing the bed. And so I sit down with the seller, the owner of the coach, and it's an Arizona title in his uncle's name. And so it's Thursday afternoon, and he said, I said, I'm not taking it with somebody else's name. That's not in my world. We're not doing that. He said, I'm gonna get in my car and drive to Phoenix and get this title transferred tomorrow, be Friday, and I'll be back here. You know, I said, I don't think that's gonna happen. So now the deal's off, and the international dealer wants me to pay for 11 batteries and an oil change, and I'm not paying for it because it ain't my coach. So they tagged it on to the guy's bill, the seller's bill, and the seller, he's trying to get me to wait on Monday and all that. I said, no, this doesn't look right. It doesn't smell right, and I'm going home. So we flew home without the coach. So then about a week goes by, and the guy calls me. He said, are you still interested in the coach? I got the title squared away, and it's all running good. And he was mad because he had to pay the international dealer for the batteries and stuff. And I said, that's the way it works. And so I said, yeah, I'm still interested in the coach, but we got to renegotiate the price, because now I'll have 3 trips, fly there, fly back, and fly back. And I'm paying for somebody else and food and all that. So we negotiate the price down, and I said, fine, and I'll come back and get it. So we flew back to get it. Everything was good. I paid the guy, and we left that. Well, before we left though, I'm looking for chairs. I'm looking for seats. I'm looking for a couch. I'm looking for a recliner. So I find this RV furniture place there about an hour away, and now it's Friday again, okay? And so I called a guy and I said, listen, we're leaving tonight, heading to Florida. I need a couch, 2 front chairs, a recliner. And he said, yeah, I got all that stuff. He said, can you come Monday? I said, no, I can't come Monday. I need to come now. And I have cash. I'll pay cash. And he says, okay, great. And he gave us an address, and away we went. We get there to his shop, and he's a pretty cool guy. We're looking through his stuff, and I said, man, it's getting along toward 5 o'clock. I bet you want us to hurry up and get out of here. And he goes, no, not really. He said, my in-laws are in town, and I don't want to go home. He said, how about I get a pizza and some beer? I said, hell, how about it? So he left us in his shop, and he went and got pizza and beer and came back, and we had pizza and beer, and I ended up buying 2 front seats and a couch. He didn't have a recliner that I liked. And I'm back and forth on the phone with Carol too, giving her colors, choices and stuff. So anyway, now we got a couch and 2 front chairs. We bolt the front chair in on the right side. We didn't bolt the left side in because it already had one. And away we go. We're out of California and we're heading home. So like I said before, it had flat spotted tires. So it had that bumpity, 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 you know, and so we're flying, man. We stopped at Walmart and got sleeping bags and a bunch of water and gallons of water and potato chips and M&Ms and all that stuff and snacks, you know, for the ride. And we're flying. We're doing like 80 in this thing. And of course, I was a lot younger then. And we get over into Texas and near San Antonio on the east side of San Antonio. This clunking's getting worse, and then it quit clunking. The rear end was bad. The ring gear had some teeth off of it, and it got where it wouldn't go at all. So now we're on the side of the road in the middle of the night, and we didn't have any idea what mile marker or anything. So the next morning we get up when it's daylight, and I'm sleeping on the floor, the other guy's sleeping on the couch, and a cop stops and he tells us what mile marker it is, and we call a wrecker. And so the wrecker comes, picks us up, and we're heading back to San Antonio. And I asked the wrecker driver, I said, well, where should we go? Where would you recommend to get this thing fixed? He said, well, we got a Peterbilt or something there, and there's also a independent shop that's 24 hours, and they'll probably let you stay in the bus when you know, at that shop, but not at Peterbilt. And I said, take us to the 24-hour shop. So he took us there and dropped us off, and they get under it and they figure out what they need for parts, and they ordered a part, you know, a rebuilt rear end center section. And it's gonna be like 2 days before they can get it. So we're hanging around this shop, and there's a restaurant. It's in the back of a truck stop. So we go to the truck stop and eat, and then we're hanging around the shop and watch these guys work on trucks and stuff. So that night late, midnight or 1 o'clock or something, we were in the bus hanging out, and a truck pulls in. The mechanics get on the truck and start working on it, and they're having a big time out there. So we had some beer, and so we just got some lawn chairs, and the chairs were still in the bus. So we went outside, and we're sitting around watching these guys work on a semi, and we're drinking beer. And about that time, the shop owner shows up. He said, for God's sake, you guys move in here. You're living in my shop. Now you're drinking beer right out here in front of all my customers and stuff. He said, can you at least drink beer out of paper cups? I said, yeah, we'll get some paper cups. So we went and got us paper cups, and we drank beer. So that gave us the idea that we would get some time cards from the office girl, and we'd punch in and out every day like we were working there. So we got these time cards, and the way that worked is if this guy was working on a truck, he would punch in on that truck, and when we got through working on it, he'd punch out, and, you know, he'd sign off what he did. So we had these time cards, and we punched in and wrote in there that we, from 11 to 12 o'clock at night last night, we drank beer out of paper cups per the boss's request. And so we had a whole, you know, both of us had time cards, and it was funny as hell. So the next day they get the rear end in the bus, and we go into office to settle up, and he told us what we owed him, and then we handed him our time cards. We had figured out, you know, what he was going to pay us to hang around there and drink beer out of his paper cups. And it was just a big joke, a big adventure, you know, the whole time. And I think we were there 3 days. But they got the rear end in. They did a good job, and we paid up, and it wasn't terrible, on the money. So we drove it on home, and safe trip after that, and we rebuilt that coach. We painted it, put all new interior in it. Really nice coach. Ended up keeping it. Drove it for 10 years, and it's still out there on the road somewhere today. Big adventure, a lot going on, and we've flipped a bunch of coaches since then. Hey, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. See you down the road.